All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi's Stadium after training camp practice number 9. And yesterday was probably the most physical practice of training camp. Today, man, was just kind of a low energy day down here in Santa Clara. It was a medium rep day, so it was a few less reps than yesterday. And the Niners just seemed a little gassed. They seemed a little tired. There wasn't nearly as much energy. Even the crowd. You know, the fans were in attendance here in Santa Clara today, and even the crowd was a little quiet. So just overall, first instant reaction. And by the way, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week. Check them out in Emeryville or Corte Madera from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. But yeah, just kind of a low energy day. It was kind of a weird thing. Maybe the Niners were a little fatigued. The crowd was definitely quiet. It was Willie Snead Day here in Santa Clara, in that Willie Snead had probably the 2 biggest plays of the day. Probably the highlight of the entire day was Trey Lance finding Willie Snead on a deep ball on the final play of team drills. It was about 25, 30 yards down the field. Willie Snead on the far sideline was being blanketed by Samuel Womack, and Trey Lance put it up there. And Willie Snead somehow, with Womack all over him, reached around with his left hand and brought it in. It was a phenomenal catch. The guys on the sideline were giving Willie a lot of high fives. I mean, that was absolutely maybe the catch of camp so far. One-handed grab over Samuel Womack. And that was, as I said, the final play of team drills. It was down that left sideline. And give Womack credit, by the way. Womack's playing some really good football, but Snead just had a day today. Interesting in that Trey Lance started slow, but then finished fast in the team portion of practice, where Sam Darnold kind of was the opposite. Sam Darnold started out hot, but really struggled late. Darnold had Brandon Ayuk wide open deep on a corner route, and the ball just hung up. I don't know if it came off his hand funky or what, but I mean, it had a terrible trajectory, a big looping pass, and it just hung in the air for an incompletion. Darnold started off hot. He completed 5 of 5 to start the practice, but then he had that bad throw to Ayuk, who was wide open. It was a great route by Ayuk. And then on another play, Darnold threw behind Juwan Jennings for another incompletion. So Darnold struggled a little bit. As far as Trey Lance, I thought Trey Lance, as I said, started slow, finished fast. He did miss another short pass. It's like it wouldn't be a Niner practice if Trey didn't miss a short pass. He had a little play action handoff to fake the handoff to Kyle Juszczyk, and then went to hit him in the flat and just missed him. So on the day, I had Allen charted at 6 of 8. Sam Darnold 8 of 13. Lance also was 8 of 13. With the starters, I had Lance at 6 of 9, and also Lance had kind of overthrew Deebo Samuel on a deep ball. He had Deebo had a great move on the DB and got deep down the near sideline, and Lance just led him by about 5 or 6 extra yards and just overthrew him. Darnold, as I said, 8 of 13, but 4 of 6 with the starters. And as I said, the real bad one for Darnold was he underthrew Ayuk on the corner route. Brandon Allen had a pretty throw today. In fact, Brandon Allen may have had one of the best throws we've seen all camp. He had a 35-yard deep ball to Willie Snead, probably the best throw of the day. So, overall, kind of a weird day for the 49ers in that they weren't real high energy. There was no Brock Purdy today. Today was his day off. Of course, the 49ers team will, as a whole, will take tomorrow off. So tomorrow was the players' day off as well. If there was another good note to report on, Nick Bosa remains unsigned, and I'm looking at that as a good thing because, he could have been here. They're going live. He could have hurt himself. He could have been out for the season. So Nick Bosa still is not reported. But on the good note, he's not out for the season. So there you go there. And then as far as some of the other highlights, Taco Charlton continues to win in the one-on-ones. It's amazing. Taco Charlton was signed off the street. He's about 6'6", looks like about 260, and he's just way too fast for Leroy Watson. And, one-on-ones, Charlton's having his way. I mean, he really looks good in the one-on-ones. Also, Drake Jackson had a really nice one-on-one rep against Colton McKivitz. He beat Colton in one of the one-on-one drills for a sack. Also, Spencer Wagee. Spencer Wagee, and I did look it up. It's not Wagee, it's Wagee, Spencer Wagee. I've got clarification on that from multiple sources, so make sure you write that one down. Spencer Wagee, not Wagee, not Wage, Wagee. And remember his name because he's playing well. He had another good day in the one-on-ones. Wagee is just a force. I mean, he really looks good in the one-on-ones. Also, I thought Jalen Graham had a couple nice plays today. He stepped in against the run and made a nice play against the run against Kalen Laburn. Graham is starting to kind of show himself. Charvarius Ward had a nice PBU on a ball that went from Trey Lance to George Kittle, and Ward just slapped it down at the last second. Diamador Lenore continues to make good plays out here. Lenore made a really nice aggressive tackle on a screen pass from Lance to Ayuk, where he's just reading screen, comes up, and makes the play. And, the one thing that's really nice is that the combination of Demo Lenore, Charvarius Ward, definitely Deshaun Jameson, and Samuel Womack are all playing really fast on the corner. If there's one area where it's really been encouraging to watch, it's that right there. I mean, the speed, the recognition of the Niner corners, the speed at which they're closing on these DBs. These guys all look like starters. I mean, Womack looks like a starter. Jameson looks like a starter. Mooney Ward is obviously a starter. And Lenore is coming on as a guy who looks like he could be one of the best young corners in the league. So all of those guys really standing out on the corner, and that's great to see. Tayshaun Gibson had a nice PBU on a deep ball from Sam Darnold to Brandon Ayuk. I thought that was a really nice play. And to me, if there was the best throw of the day, I mean, it's easy to say the Brandon Allen deep ball because, he did throw a deep ball strike. It was an absolute strike, could not be thrown any better to Willie Snead. And then Lance had the final deep ball of practice on a ball that was also caught by Willie Snead here on Willie Snead Day here in Santa Clara. But to me, the throw that makes you go, wow, was Trey Lance threw a slant to Brandon Ayuk, and it was just an absolute rocket. I mean, just an absolute bullet. One of the most impressive throws of the day, definitely Trey Lance to Brandon Ayuk on a slant against Demo Lenore. All right, that does it from Santa Clara for our instant reaction. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to all you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube. Have a great rest of your Saturday, everybody.